Everything in the world is getting more and more efficient, including scammers. Nothing ruins a holiday faster than a cunning scammer duping you out of your hard-earned money. And let me tell you, there are some pretty sneaky ones out there. Here are the worst travel scams you've probably never heard of that trick people every single day. Someone was this close to cheating us with number 3 just a few days ago. Let's go. Imagine you find the perfect restaurant, bar, or club to try on your vacation, and when you show up, there's a man in uniform standing outside holding a menu. When you approach, he talks into his earpiece walkie-talkie and has a short conversation with the staff inside. He then breaks the news that the venue is completely full. But lucky for you, their sister venue is just around the corner and coincidentally is having a super cheap drink special that night. Well, if the guy at this place is recommending it, it must be legit, right? The problem is that this guy in uniform here with a fancy walkie-talkie does not actually work here. He's a street tout in disguise. Best case scenario, he's simply driving traffic to a different venue and the trick ends there. There are multiple reports of this happening in Japan of all places. But worst case scenario, this new venue ends up pulling a price switcheroo on you and then intimidates you into paying a ginormous bill. Next is the unofficial officials. So let's say you're out exploring the streets in Medellin, Colombia. You're with friends, partying, drinking, and having a grand old time. Maybe too much of a grand old time because suddenly a police officer stops you. They ask for your ID, so you hand over your passport and tell them you're not from here and that you don't know what you did wrong. The whole 9 yards. Except they already know all this and now they're not giving you your passport back. At least not until you hand over some money. You don't really got many bargaining chips at this point. The sad truth is, police officers in some countries earn extremely low wages, which leads them to corruption and extortion to earn money. And this doesn't just happen in Medellin, although this is sadly a true story that happened to my friend. In Japan, travelers have reported similar situations. But instead of corrupt cops, they were just random people pretending to be police. My advice is to always leave your passport safe in your accommodation. Don't get super drunk on the streets. Always keep your wits about you. And most importantly, like this video. Next is the booking.com scam. We actually almost fell for this tricky travel scam just a few days ago. We use the booking.com app to book a lot of our accommodations. And on the app, there's a messaging system that allows you to communicate directly with your hotel. Sometimes hotels have automated messages that go out to you with any special instructions that you need to know. Well, recently my wife got a message from within the booking.com system saying that her reservation had not been completely confirmed because the card she used had been rejected. The message went on to explain that she needed to click on a link to verify her card, and if she didn't do it within 12 hours, then her reservation would be canceled. If this message would have arrived to us as an email, we might have been a little bit more wary. But the fact that it came as a direct message from within the booking.com app system makes this scam extra sneaky. It appears as though scammers are hacking into the hotel's accounts and messaging guests without the hotels knowing it. The only reason that my wife didn't fall for this was because she actually saw a video about it on Instagram just a few days earlier. Watching this video saved her, which is why we've been making so many scam videos lately to help you. Anyway, Diane immediately wrote a message to booking.com's customer service notifying them of the scam, and they said they would look into it. Well, 4 days later, and she received another message from the scammer reminding her to verify her card, otherwise her reservation would be canceled. And this time they were a little bit more pushy about it. So it seems like booking.com's customer service didn't take Diane's warning too seriously. Eventually, they added this warning to the bottom of the screen because it must have been tricking lots of people. Paying for restaurant meals safely works a little bit different in other countries as well. In the US, when you finish your meal, your server brings you the bill and then you put your credit card in those little black books and then they take the book over to the cash register to charge your card. Super normal, nothing to be concerned about. But once my friend traveled to Panama and gave her credit card to a waiter in a restaurant, and later that evening she started to get a bunch of weird charges on her card. Turns out in many countries you're not supposed to give your credit card to the waiter because they are supposed to bring the credit card machine to you. This is so that you can watch them charge it to make sure nothing fishy is going on. If you do happen to give someone your credit card while abroad, make sure to watch them to make sure that they don't snap a picture of your card information or secretly run it through one of those handheld credit card skimmers, which can be as small as a tube of lipstick. You're not immune from this in the United States either. Just run a quick Google search for these types of stories and you'll see what I mean. They actually happen quite a bit in fast food restaurants in the drive-thru. And stealing your card info is only one way that scammy restaurants try to get you. Number 7, which we'll get to in a second, is another clever wallet drainer. Next is the contactless ATM scam. We've all heard about the skimming machines that scammers attach to ATMs, but things have evolved. Scammers now sometimes put literal glue inside the card slot. This jams up the slot, preventing people from putting the cards in. So how is this a scam? Well, many ATMs these days have a contactless feature. Basically, you can just tap your card and then start making transactions. The difference between using contactless and inserting your card is that when you insert your card, the ATM actually has to give it back. And when it gives it back, the ATM automatically logs you out. But when you use contactless, the ATM doesn't know when you're finished unless you log out automatically. So you could grab your money and then walk away and not even realize that your account is still open for a few seconds. That's when the scammers pounce. If anyone standing around the ATM tells you that the card slot isn't working but the contactless is, that's a big red flag. I first heard about this trick from Nora, the professional hobo, who has an awesome YouTube channel as well. By the way, this video covers clever traveler scams that are hard to detect, but it's by no means a comprehensive list. For a handy reference, you can grab my full anti-scam cheat sheet in the description below. Next up is the good old SIM scam. When buying physical SIM cards abroad, we've been scammed not only once, but twice. The first time was when we arrived to Cambodia and our hotel arranged a tuk-tuk to pick us up and bring us to our hotel. The tuk-tuk driver, who we thought was working for the hotel, asked us if we needed to buy a SIM card, explaining that we could make a pit stop to buy one because there was nowhere to buy one near our hotel. We agreed. We stopped at a shop. We paid for a 20 gigabyte plan that should last 30 days, and then we left. The next day, my data plan expired. We had no idea where the shop was that we had bought it from, and it turns out that the tuk-tuk driver didn't work for the hotel. It was just someone they randomly hired off the streets to pick us up. The second scam happened in Brazil when we walked to an official carrier store in a mall because we wanted to buy from somewhere that was trustworthy. Since we were staying for 3 months, the worker recommended that we bought a monthly recurring plan and then just cancel it when we left, saying that we just needed to send him a WhatsApp message when we were ready to cancel and he would cancel it for us. We left the country, sent him a message, but no response. He ghosted us. Yet our credit cards were still getting charged every single month. We tried for days to try to contact every type of customer service option that was available, but it turns out that the worker didn't even use our names or IDs to sign up for the plan, so nobody that we contacted was even able to access the account. In the end, the only solution was to cancel my credit card and then have another one shipped to me internationally. But since we were island hopping around the Maldives at that time, this was impossible. In the end, we had to wait over a month to receive my credit card once we arrived in Thailand. So, super long story short, this is one of the big reasons why we now use travel eSIMs for our data when we're traveling. These let you set up your own international data plan on your phone before you leave home, so it's ready for you when you arrive. That way, you don't have to hassle with these SIM card scams. In fact, fact, these scam experiences have made me kind of obsessed with travel eSIMs, and I've now tested over 8 of the most popular companies to see which one works the best. I'll link to my favorites in the description along with some discount codes. Next is the daily special scam. Tourists are a scammer's best friend because frankly, a lot of times they don't know any better and they don't even realize that they're getting scammed. This is particularly common in restaurants. The daily special that isn't on the menu isn't really that special when you end up paying 5 times more than you expected to pay. There are even sneaky restaurants that'll give you one menu when you order and then replace it with an identical menu with higher prices when the time comes to pay the bill. It's actually not a bad idea to snap a picture of the menu if you're eating at a new restaurant in areas that are known for scams. You might think that this sounds like overkill and paranoid, but after learning this the hard way in Egypt, I think it scarred us for life.
We got the scam, guys. This is the truth.
Speaking of which, if you really want to be scam proof, watch our video on the scams that we experienced in Egypt. Because if you can outsmart scammers in Egypt, everywhere else feels like child's play. Also, please comment your scam stories below to help other travelers avoid them. I'll also try to feature the best ones in a future video. Hope you found this helpful, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.